Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I read a really sad story today about a little boy who was found inside an alligator's mouth. This is after his mother's life was taken. I'm going to tell you about this story because Black lives really do matter. And I think that even though this is not a police shooting, these things are worth talking about. So get comfortable, buck up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to welcome everybody. Shout out the name of the city that you're from. Let me know what city you're from. What's going on, Max Jerome out of California, and Jay Slate. Jay Slate says, I'm here. Good to see you. And also, what's up to everybody on Instagram? My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. How you doing, Carolyn Jenkins? And my name is Corey, always for Baltimore. Good to see you. All right, so hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, Cameron from Halifax, and Donna Reed from Lakewood, New Jersey. Good to see you. Good to see you. And I see Nashville, Detroit, NYC, Orlando, Chicago, ATL in the building. I'll be in Houston on April 21st for the Black Wealth Boot Camp. So go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to talk to me in person and be part of our 2-day Black Wealth training. So anyway, so here's what I wanted to talk about today on the podcast. This was really interesting and sad. Now, I don't even use the word interesting first. I'm going to say sad first. And then there's a lot to kind of talk about in terms of the layers of this. How many of you agree that Black Lives Matter? Do Black Lives Matter to you? If Black Lives Matter, then say yes in the chat or put Black Lives Matter in the chat. And the reason I ask you this question is because I think that when you really say Black Lives Matter, I think the question becomes, what does that really mean, right? I think that there are people politically who think Black lives only matter when it's a police shooting, or they think Black lives only matter when it's an election year, or Black lives only matter when it's some sort of incident related to race, white on Black crime, Republican on Democrat crime. But these same people don't seem to feel that Black lives matter when it comes to things that are happening in our community in terms of all the little children that are being harmed and killed and things like that. So that brings me, so that sets us up for our topic for today, which is this terrible story about this little boy, this 2-year-old boy who was literally found inside an alligator's mouth. It says here that missing Florida toddler found inside alligator's mouth the day after his mother's murder. So they said the hunt for a missing toddler came to a tragic end Friday when the child's body was found inside an alligator's mouth in Florida. The father, Taylin Mosley, too, was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the child and the stabbing death of the boy's mother, 20-year-old Pashin Jeffrey. St. Petersburg Police Chief Anthony Holloway said officers were investigating the area of Dale Holmes Park where they spotted an alligator with an object in its mouth, and the officers fired a round at the alligator, killing it and forcing it to drop the child's body. His body was retrieved, though police said it's not yet clear how he died or if he was dead before he ended up in the lake. We are sorry it had to end this way, Police Chief Anthony Holloway said. Police have been searching for Taylor since 2:30 p.m. Thursday when they found Jeffrey dead from multiple stab wounds inside her apartment following a blood trail from her vehicle. So what they're saying here, at least according to the police, is that it looks like it may be a situation where the father came into the house, killed the mother, that she was stabbed to death, and that led them to go search for the baby. Well, they went to go search for the baby, and there's the image of the baby on the screen. If you're watching on Instagram, you can't see it, so you can go to my YouTube channel. The link's in the bio if you'd like to see the image. And there he is. He's a beautiful 2-year-old child, and this just really breaks my heart. This is really sad to see. Now, what makes me sort of want to talk about this is I think that this kind of reflects. There's his mother right there, where she was also killed, and so what this really kind of makes me process is whether or not things like, some of these Black Lives Matter movements and everything else are really getting to the heart of the things that threaten the lives of Black people. When I think about the things that can kill black people, I'm not just thinking about police shootings. Police shootings are one thing that can certainly do that, but I'm also thinking about shootings in the hood. I know a lot of black people who've been killed. I don't know a single black person who was killed by a white police officer. I just don't. I don't know about you. Maybe you know several. Maybe my life is just weird, but I don't know a lot of black people who were shot and murdered by a cop. But I do know a lot of black people who were shot and murdered by another black person. I also think that when you're talking about black women and the disrespect that we have for black women and children, when you have a lot of men out here that will spend more time talking down on a black woman than they'll spend actually defending and supporting black women, that really speaks to what's kind of going on in the community. Now, it's not completely their fault, though. It's not completely their fault. Because remember also, you were trained to believe that you should have a community where the men are not important. You were trained to believe that the whole single mother culture and all that is the way to go, when really good men are your protectors. Right now, in this particular case, this guy wasn't a good man, whatever happened in that family happened. But I really kind of think that more conversation should happen about sort of the things that are really happening in the community, instead of waiting around and waiting for Democrats to decide during an election year that they want to suddenly proclaim again that Black Lives Matter because there's one police shooting that the paid Negroes on CNN are being paid to talk about, right? You'll get your Angela Rye and you'll get your Van Joneses and all these other people up there talking about whatever the Democrats are telling them to talk about. You're missing the mark. You're completely missing the mark, because there's so much stuff that's happening right there in your community that you're not addressing. When I see this poor little baby getting killed, I'm really thinking about the state of our relationships, in terms of the fact that there's so many other situations where women have been killed by their partner, or the children have been killed by the partner. When I see something like this happen, I think about the fact that this type of story isn't going to get the same nature of media coverage as a story that would have occurred if it had been a police shooting. You got to understand that. You got to ask yourself, why, if this little boy had been shot by a cop, CNN would be talking about it all day. It would be all over the news. It would be the biggest deal in the country. The Joe Biden would be talking about it. So why is it that when he's killed in this situation, in domestic violence by his own father, that doesn't warrant the same attention as if he were killed by the cop? That's because the killing of Black people by police is a convenient political issue. It is a political issue that furthers not the Black agenda. They're not doing this to further the Black agenda. They're doing it to further the white liberal agenda. And I need y'all to understand the difference between the two. The white liberal agenda ain't always the same as the Black agenda. The Black agenda is protecting all Black people and all Black families from all the things that are killing Black people. The white liberal agenda is to sort of kind of pretend to be protecting Black people when it comes to the issues that white liberals care about, like the police state and police issues, right? Now, again, I'm not saying police shootings are not valid. I'm not saying that they're not important. I'm not saying that that's not an issue. There's certainly an issue in criminal justice. But again, I think we're missing the mark. Where are we missing the mark? Well, the criminal justice issue that I've seen ain't about just the police shootings. Sure, it's bad when you have a George Floyd get killed or somebody like that. I don't worship him on a mural. I think that's silly, comparing him to Martin Luther King and all that. Get off of that. It was an unfortunate incident that should not have occurred. The real injustice in terms of the police state, in terms of the criminal justice system, is all those Black people that are still in prison, many of whom went to prison 25, 30 years ago under Joe Biden's 3 strikes laws. The Joe Biden 3 strikes laws took the lives of more Black people than Adolf Hitler took in Nazi Germany, but you ignore that. And some of y'all Negroes run around here calling this man Uncle Joe, which is ridiculous to me, which is almost hilarious to me. This man, you calling this man your uncle, and he tried to exterminate your whole community. Go back and watch the tapes. Don't just take my word for it. Go watch the video. Go listen to what this man was saying in the 90s about inner city. They use code language. In these inner city single parent homes, and then starts talking about you like you're a damn rodent. Like you need to be exterminated. Like they need a big can of Raid they can spray across the country and get rid of all these inner city youth who are out of control, these predators who are coming from single parent homes. That's what they did, right? So again, I don't want to make this too overly political. I mean, obviously the tragedy is the death of this little boy, but I'm really I said, I really feel like it's important that we talk about this as much as you would expect me to talk about a shooting of a grown-ass Black man by the cops. If a grown-ass Black man gets shot by a cop, I'm not gonna lie, I have less sympathy for a grown-ass Black man who maybe he was getting into some gangster shit. I have less sympathy for that than I do for a 2-year-old boy who didn't ask for none of that, who literally thought his daddy was going to protect him. His daddy might have killed him, who was literally looking for the world to to make sure he was safe, and the world did not. We failed that little boy. We fail all these children in all of our hoods when we do not take control of our communities and start addressing some of the issues that are really there without trying to always be politically correct. Instead of sitting around saying, well, there's no such thing as black on black crime. There shouldn't be. You shouldn't use that term. Who told you not to use that term? It was the white liberals who told you to do that. That's why you don't have control over your communities, because you let those other people tell you what should be important to you. You let them tell you how you should feel. You let them tell you what should actually matter. And I personally believe that in our space that we control, we should decide what matters. And in this space that I control, I'm going to sit here and say to you that that little boy's death matters to me every bit as much as if his name was George Floyd. His death matters to me every bit as much as if his name was Trayvon Martin. His death matters to me every bit as much as if his name was Breonna Taylor. Just because he didn't get the blessing and the fortune of being killed by a cop does not mean that his death is not relevant. So if Black lives matter to you, then you want Black people to be safe no matter what circumstance takes their life, right? Whether it is a police shooting or too much Popeye's chicken, right? Or whether it's some sort of racial violence, or it's urban violence where they got shot in the hood by somebody who was mad that you was dating his baby's mama, right? All these things affect Black people's lives, and I really encourage you to broaden your thinking and stop letting other people to tell you what to think. All right, so anyway, I'm going to bounce on out, and I wanted to thank the sponsor of this podcast, Aisha Verzi. Aisha Verzi does excellent work in terms of financial services and retirement planning, things like that. Her Instagram link is right there on that page. That's a Black-owned business. That's a sister that I met at one of the Black Wealth boot camps, and I hope you'll go and at least follow her. She's got good financial information. She's 100% B1, and there's her name. So shout out to Aisha Verzi and her financial services and investment, retirement options, things like that. So if you want to sponsor one of the podcasts, just go to drboycefinance.com, drboycefinance.com, and you can sponsor one of the episodes. And also, if you want to join us in Houston for the Black Wealth Bootcamp, just go to boycewatkins.com, or you can also pick up my new book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's a bestseller on Amazon, so feel free to go grab a copy. Thank you all for supporting the book so far. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. God bless you. And remember, Black lives always matter, even when white people ain't talking about it. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.